Okay, the recording is going.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:06.
Yep.
All right. The first thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes of the February and March meeting. The February one you should have received, the March one I'm just reading now because I don't think it was in my computer. This is for later.
Okay, so these are the March minutes and the February minutes are...
The February minutes were sent to you and to Darlene, and if I can open my computer here, I can refresh everybody's memory. Minutes. No. There was a joint meeting on February 2nd with the Board of Selectmen, but those have already been filed, I would think.
Well, at least we have these in front of us. I mean, we
Yeah.
can, I mean, I'm okay with these minutes from this particular meeting.
Okay,
If
there
you
may
all are.
be some things as we walk around the building that will need to be added, but I think we're not gonna do it all at once anyway, so there'll be other opportunities.
Well, we can't add them to the minutes of the last meeting.
No, we can amend, or we can,
Well-
we wouldn't have,
It wouldn't, because that meeting is done.
yeah.
So if we make
But if
changes.
there's anything in the minutes that you see that's
Mhm.
missing, we can add it now.
We can add it now if we discussed it at the last meeting.
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
yep.
exactly.
I'm good with it. I'm good with these minutes.
Me too.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
A motion to approve the Thursday, March 14th, 2024 minutes meeting at the Swift House.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Old business. The 23-24 budget has a total of 14,000. Oh goodness, I wrote it down. Where is it? It's 14,700.
We've got, in the minutes of the last meeting, it says 14,750.
That was approximate, but I
Okay.
have the exact
Oh,
number
okay.
here now. $14,746.25. And then in the 2025-26 budget, which has not yet been approved, but if it is approved, we will have 15,000 in that year, also for repairs and maintenance. So that's a total of 29,746.25 to use toward repairs and maintenance. I don't think, but maybe one of you has an opinion on this, I don't think that can be put toward the ADA work because That wasn't in the budget, and it's a capital improvement, it's not an
That's
annual
not-
budget item.
Not repairs or maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Tax said, why don't you just put it toward that, and I said, I don't think we're allowed to do that because of the structure of the budgeting. So, there are a lot of options. I wrote to Tim for his opinion on the things that seemed most probable. And he wrote back. I asked, what would your recommendation be to, he said that he didn't think we should be painting the facade that's peeling most as a one-off, that they were recommending that we sandblast the whole building and do it all at once. That makes sense. So then we're looking at individual items on the list. I said, what would be your recommendation to restore the entire building exterior? What would that include? And asked him if he thought it was necessary to replace everything, including the siding, which I think is in fairly good condition. But he said, if you sandblast the whole building, then you can identify things that are damaged, as well as getting rid of all the old paint. One of the things I did not put on the list of options, but that we should consider, I did talk a week ago I found an environmental firm, the ones that had been suggested to us. One of them really only does sewer and groundwater issues and not paint and asbestos. But they referred me, and there's a company, I think in Bristol. They were supposed to send me a proposal by today. I did not receive it. But verbally, they said it would be about $650 to test interior and exterior paint for lead paint, and $15 each for plaster chips to test them for asbestos, which apparently in the 18th century they put asbestos.
In the 18th century?
Yeah,
Really?
that's what he said.
Wow.
On the 18th and 19th century, they put asbestos in plaster to bind it better.
Okay.
And so it's possible that there's asbestos in the walls here.
Wow.
He said that they can be, you can repaint them and encapsulate that. There's a particular kind of paint that works for that. And that would be a solution. But when we're demolishing walls, we just have to be very careful and take, recommended precautions for any plaster that's disturbed. So when I get those figures in a proposal, I'll, give it to the selectmen and all of you. That's something that, do you think that we should be putting that as a priority in the budget for repairs and maintenance?
I do,
The paint?
Because we need to know.
because there's no use in repairing something that's gonna have to be all stripped again later on.
Yeah.
And
But
so if we sandblast it before we paint it, we'll figure out if there is stuff that needs to be repaired. Is that
Well,
what
they'll
you're
have
saying?
to do the test. Somebody's gotta
We'll
do the test before they do
first,
that
okay.
They
anyway.
can't
all right.
sandblast or even sand.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
If there's peeling paint, they can't just.
I see what you're saying.
Seal
Sorry, I
portion.
was confused.
So I
Yeah.
think we should know that. So can I hear a motion to recommend that we spend some of the repair and maintenance money on getting the testing done?
Yeah.
I'll second that for discussion, but is that our decision to make that?
Well, we recommend to the selectmen.
All right.
So the motion is
yeah.
to recommend to the selectmen.
We've been asked to identify and recommend the repairs and maintenance that will be made
Because when's the budget
With-
end? June 30th? Or
June
1st?
30th.
30th.
Yeah,
So we've got 2 months.
yeah, and that means that we have to find a contractor, they have to start work and have a contract signed before the end of the month. They can finish the work next year. but, you know, in the next, but we need to.
Do we have to put that out to bid?
That, I don't think so. It's not over $3,000 or whatever the limit is. And there are a few, precious few companies in the
Right, no, I
area
agree.
that do that, so.
So wait, this motion was just seconded? This is on the floor?
Yeah,
currently?
I said.
Oh, you seconded it,
So,
okay.
but
okay.
as long as the motion
Okay.
says that the motion is to recommend to the board,
Right.
to the board that the money be spent on the test. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you make some notes on the back of your,
I would if I had a
Yeah.
pen.
yeah. So, should we take a vote then? I mean, is there any further discussion on that issue?
No?
I think it's not, they can do it within the time frame. It doesn't appear to be a lot of money. It's critical information that we have to know before we do anything with the exterior paint or the interior wall, so. Can I hear, shall we,
All in
it's been
favor?
seconded,
All-
shall we take
all in
a
favor?
vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. All right, for the testing. The other thing that was up in the air, and I don't feel as strongly about this, is whether we should bring in a structural engineer at this point to determine whether we have to sister the rafters and the, if we need more. I mean, it is part of trying to determine what the overall cost of the work would be, but we haven't had anybody here who is qualified or willing to state a professional opinion about, especially I think this back part that has a bit of a sag in the roof.
All right, yeah.
But are they gonna consider that repairs and maintenance?
That isn't something that we would propose to do,
Right.
but it's a question of out of this budget, do we hire the structural engineer to advise on that, or do we postpone that until we figure out what else we're doing with this building? I don't know. I don't have any idea what it would cost.
I was just gonna ask that. Because hiring an engineer isn't, I guess you could make the case that it is repair and maintenance, but on the other hand, it really isn't.
Well, it's part of.
It's assessing what repairs and
I
maintenance.
expected
Yeah,
it to be
it
part
would.
of the
Yeah,
needs
that's true.
assessment, quite
Yep,
honestly.
yep.
Because they advertise that they have engineers on staff. They just don't have a structural engineer, which
Mhm.
you would think that an architectural firm would have.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
HVAC and electrical and all those things, but maybe that isn't out of this budget. Maybe that's just something that.
I don't think that's out of this budget.
I-
Yeah, I
I
think we need to do our research
Yep.
after this meeting about that
Yep.
and just
Yep.
look around and
Yep.
maybe ask the Board of Selectmen what they think about
Yeah.
looking at a structural engineer. But in
Yeah.
terms of just the scope of what we're doing currently and then the
Mhm.
budget,
Mhm.
that might be a little bit too much at this point.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
so.
it's a next year expense in any event, because if we apply for grants, it's information that needs to be included in the grant application.
Yeah.
Okay, so no structural engineering out of this budget now. So the other options, windows of course need replacing, but in the meantime, there is trim around the windows, especially in the second floor in the front, and some other occasional windows that is in pretty bad shape. And his response to that, I asked about in the meantime, perhaps we should repair the most needy window sills and our trim, especially on the second floor windows in the front of the building to prevent interior leaks and make the building look a little more cared for. And he said, you could repair the window trim and sills separately and then replace the windows at a later date. So it doesn't have to be part of the same operation. So that's an option. Another option would be, he didn't answer one of my key questions. When we walked around the building, there were most of the corner boards had been pieced. I don't know if that was because the lower parts got damaged by weather or because they couldn't get long enough pieces to go the full height, so they did them in 2 pieces. But where the joints are, they're rotting. It's in bad shape, almost all the way around the building, and the bottom of a lot of them is also weather damaged. There's a product called Boral that I've used on my own house, recommended by several contractors. When I first started working on this project, like an eternity ago, the first thing I did was consult with 3 contractors in the area that were highly recommended, and 2 of them specifically recommended using this product because it's dimensionally stable. It does not absorb water. It won't give you cracks and rot in the future.
How is it applied?
That comes, you order it in pieces.
Oh, okay.
Trim pieces, just like you order lumber.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's made out of fly ash from the coal process. So it may not be available forever, and the price might go up, but it's a really fabulous product and it can be painted. So they recommended that we use that whenever we're replacing trim, especially, where there's a lot of weather involved. So one of the things we could do is repair the corner boards where needed. And another possibility would be, I think it might be easier to find a contractor to do that than to do fussy window trim repairs. But another option would be to postpone the trim repairs as possible, and instead put the rat slab under the back room and insulate that space, because that whole part of the house is unusable in winter because it's so cold. And it also raises the heating bills for the rest of the house.
What is under in this room?
That one, I don't know, I think it's probably earth.
It looks like dirt also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they
I
are.
mean,
It
that's,
smells like it when you go in there.
yeah, that is also something that they have on the list of, the floor needs to be leveled.
Well, it's soft too when you walk on it.
Yeah.
So which is more important, lowering the heat bill or fixing, the leaky windowsills would be, the compromised windowsills would be leaking heat as well.
Well, it's the windows that leak the heat because they're single pane. They're not, double pane, and whether there's no storm window. But we're not gonna do all that now, that's,
So the issue with the window sills that need to be repaired would not affect the heat
No.
loss?
I don't
Okay.
think
Okay.
so. This room is something that we'll talk about in this plan here, but that might be a good thing to repair that floor. What we end up doing, I think, is gonna be partly a factor of what contractors we can find and what the costs, the bids are, what the costs. But do we have a priority order in which we investigate these things?
And I'm just reading his response that instead of putting I think I'm reading this right, instead of doing a rat slab, he's saying do the spray foam? Or is he saying that in addition to the rat slab?
It would be an addition,
Okay.
yeah, because, yeah.
Oh, I see, okay, I'm reading
Spray
it.
foam
That would be in the
between the
floor
floor
joist.
joists,
Yeah. So do the rat slab and,
And since
Yeah.
we don't have the condition of the floor joist yet by the structural engineer,
Pardon me?
we don't have the condition of the floor joist underneath that rat slab, right?
underneath that room.
Underneath the floor.
All right.
No.
So you wouldn't want to spray foam unless you know exactly what they look like.
Oh, but you could, you can open it up.
Right.
There are those 2 little doors there, anybody.
No, I mean in off under
Oh,
here also.
You'd have to replace
Yep.
that. You'd have to replace the whole floor there.
Yep.
It's a small enough space. I don't think they try to salvage the floor.
Mhm.
I think they just put new joists in and level it, and then put down a new floor.
If you're gonna do that, you'd be better off then to insulate the floor and do the whole thing too.
Right, yeah.
Right, get rid of the dirt and the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I think that would be a good priority, because, well, we'll look at this and then we can decide, because one of the other things we've been asked to do is to make a recommendation for where the kitchenette should go, because we all agreed at the last Board of Selectmen's meeting that we didn't want the whole back room to be a full kitchen, that we don't feel the building needs it, and it's an expensive proposition. So the choices are between that room and the space. So, I mean, jumping ahead in the agenda.
That room in which space? That room?
This space,
Okay.
or where the old kitchen used to
Okay,
be.
okay.
He had said originally that he didn't think there was enough space for handicapped access to there, but then when I went over it with him on the phone, if they remove the door to this side, I'm gonna turn this around so you can see the drawing.
Just to be clear here, we're off of old business now. We are on new business number 4.
Well, we, in order to make a prioritize the possible repairs that we could do in this year's budget and next year's, we are talking about this room as one of the items. Because the floor needs to be leveled. It's very, and it also needs to be insulated. So this is a possibility. Working on corner boards is a possibility.
For the status of 23, 24 is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's 23, 24,
Right.
and then starting July 1.
Right, that would be under
24
new
plans.
business.
But we're sort of,
No.
it covers both.
Right.
Covers
I really
both.
think,
Okay.
I think it's,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a gray area whether this is old business or new business.
yeah. Let me turn this drawing around so that you can see it. And then, if that's to be the kitchenette, then that should perhaps be the priority to get the floor leveled and ready.
And does the kitchenette have to have ADA access to it? Is that the deal?
Yeah, if you,
Yeah.
yeah, it does.
Every door would, I would think so.
Yeah, how are you gonna do that?
I'll show you from the other side. So they're proposing taking this door out here and opening that up.
Yeah.
So that would be wide enough for ADA access. Here's the plan. Do you want to look at the plan
Yeah.
first here? Here's the room we're in now, and the fireplace over here. This is what was going to be storage. This, I think, this door should remain there because it's so quirky and part of the charm of the building. I do too. So this would stay closed, but people could come in a wheelchair, you could just do this,
Yeah,
because this is gonna be a wider opening.
so this door could be made much wider.
So this would not have a door. It doesn't need a door because you can't see into it with this door closed, and it's just an encumbrance, and then, it would just be an opening. This is wide enough, and this is the turnaround for a wheelchair. So if you had a 24-inch wide counter here, which is standard kitchen width, and had, refrigeration under it, maybe a cooktop and, whatever, coffee maker and all those, and some storage. This would be an adequate kitchenette. You could also have on this side one of those pop-up shelf tables and over-counter storage.
I like that idea.
Yeah, so, and that would be out of the way, and if somebody had a catering event here, it would be wide enough to move those hot things in, and you could get up, this way, I guess. And the other option is here, which you'd have to do the,
I don't like that idea.
I don't like that idea either. I mean, I prefer this personally, but do either of you have opinions on that? You could all look at it.
I think I gotta go in there.
Yeah, if we go,
This comes out.
well, there is this little fireplace in here, but that's,
Yeah.
This comes out, and the other thing they can do when they take the floor up, the HVAC guy that I talked to it a long time ago about the heating problem here, there's that clearing space under here, the crawl space.
mhm.
He said he could get ductwork in to that room
Huh.
to heat it off the main system.
All right, so that's, because back here, that's where you're talking about,
Yeah,
Right on the other side of here.
I mean, this, if we want to keep it, could probably be moved a little bit. But
But the door into the kitchen would
the
be,
entrance would be
yeah, we
there.
probably would have to, we'd have to get rid of one of those.
Yeah.
I don't have strong feelings about that. I mean, obviously, we don't wanna mess,
Right.
this fireplace is so unusual.
Yeah,
But yeah, this has to go to get access into a kitchen in there.
yeah.
But then does this need to be widened? Because you were talking
Yeah,
about
probably
88,
not.
so.
He's proposing that this wall be taken out
Yeah.
entirely,
Yeah.
because it opens up the space and makes it lighter. And that's in their plan,
As is this doorway here.
And that
That's
doorway,
has to be widened
the
also.
door gets taken out and it gets widened,
This gets widened.
yeah.
Does this wall stay here?
Oh, I don't think so, I think this
The
whole wall.
whole thing
This
is
whole
gonna come
wall
out, okay.
comes out, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this is a much bigger space then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so,
What do you guys think?
yeah. Your thoughts?
In old houses, once you take something apart and you find out what you got underneath, that's
Yeah.
the worst part about the whole thing.
Yeah.
You may find that this isn't post and beam across here, and you might need something to carry the floor joist sitting on top of it, since this is an addition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming
Do
that
you
it will
have,
post
do you have
here.
any information about when this was done, or what this was, or was this part of the?
I think it's pretty early, but I don't remember what Marina and Todd said.
Mm. Well, they
I
were
think
climbing around in the walls looking
Yeah,
at this
I
support
think they
here.
felt that this is pretty old, but I
Yeah.
wish we'd been able to, I didn't record that, I don't know what they said. I've heard some people say that this could have been one of the early parts of the house, if not the earliest, but I have no.
I think they decided that the earliest.
It's over
Was the
there,
front.
yeah, 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 and I
Was in
trust,
it.
I'm watching
Yeah.
Marina, I totally
Yeah.
trust her, so this, I don't know. I mean, this was, in all the early pictures we have of the Stoke house, this has been here, but
So that was one of the changes, there were some modifications we were gonna make to their last plan that they sent us. And the kitchenette issue was one thing. The other thing that I asked him to look at again is this stairway.
You know what, I bet that this part of this is old, because it matches that, but then that part is a later addition that could have even been late 19th, early 20th century, but.
Well, there's certainly new windows.
Oh, yeah, well,
All
no
of that.
question about that,
Yeah.
that's, 'cause I remember when I was a kid, this was really shabby,
Yeah.
awful looking, so.
Like a lean-to or
Emily might
something.
have done something with
Yeah.
that, but this part right here is old, so it's got a
And
point.
this would have been old too.
Yeah,
This is part
yeah,
of the,
yeah, yeah.
the building.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was probably added And that looks like a, kind of a remodeled door
Oh,
over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks like a Billy Carter job to me.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing that, well, okay, we have to go back to priorities. We're getting off track here. So, if we could take care of that, then we'd be partway to having a ground floor that's usable. I don't know if, well, Marge was there, and I think you weren't able to be there, but when we had the meeting, the joint meeting with the selectmen, to go over this plan with the architects, Lynn was quite strong in her opinion that we should only do the ADA access and bathroom as a first phase. If we, and then reopen the building. But if we do that, then it's not gonna be very attractive or appealing, and I think we're gonna have a hard time politically getting support to go to phase 2, which would be a lot more expensive. It would give us time for fundraising, et cetera. But I think if we could do some things, like painting this wall, I feel like painting this myself. This bothers me so much. And having a functional kitchenette for people that are here for meetings and things. So if we did that as a repair and got rid of the bad floor, then I think that would help if the building is just reopened.
And that's your idea for what years? Budget?
Well, what do you think it would cost to put a new floor insulation joists, take out the corner there?
Trouble is, you don't know what's under here.
I would imagine it's earth. It has a pretty rough stone foundation.
No, I mean, if they run any asphalt, like paint. That's your budget right there.
Well, if the walls have asbestos in them, we're not taking down, this is,
Well, unfortunately, this
Oh,
is
there.
flaking so bad that
yeah,
you're not gonna be able to paint over it to
Yeah.
encapsulate it. You'd have
Right.
to remove it.
yeah. What is this behind here?
Another
Oh.
window.
It's like a pass-through.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess, we have to get budget. And this still has
I mean,
stuff in it.
if you're gonna redo this, you should probably redo the window at the same time.
Okay. Okay, so can we put a prioritized list for,
I bet that room and a little bit more would burn your whole $14,000 probably up.
well, that would,
Believe it or not. It sounds crazy, but I'm
yeah,
looking at.
but
And-
I think that would be a
Mhm.
valuable improvement. Well, the repairs are being made. Like put ductwork under the floor.
Because if we're looking at a total of, I know it's not exactly 30,000, but 30,000, if that, spend half of it on that. Does that leave us enough for the other stuff that we've just been talking about?
Well, we can't do all of it. We know we can't do all of it.
No, but that's part of what
Yeah.
we're supposed to do today, is prioritize, right?
Yeah.
We're
worst part of it is we're in May again, and
I
if
know.
you're a contractor, you're already booked.
I know, I've been talking about this for months.
Right.
And, I mean, it finally got turned back to us from the selectman's office.
I mean, we went through the same thing last year.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Well, it's not our,
Yeah.
it wasn't our choice.
It wasn't our choice, right, okay.
So in terms of placement of the kitchenette, like, so the last Board of Selectmen meeting approved of the plan, but with a
With
modification of
modifications.
where the kitchenette could go.
Well, yeah, not gonna have it here. I don't think we need walls and another door here. I think this should stay open, and maybe in the future you could put bifold doors here or something.
Mhm.
So it could either be 2 spaces or 1. We don't have to build this doorway and stuff, we just have to take out what's there. I had another conversation with Tim about this difficult stairway back here, because this really troubles me. I think this is gonna be very expensive and ugly, and having nothing to do with a historic building. And I suggested to him, this is the 2nd floor, okay. Right now, you come down here and there are these very, very steep stairs. If you started over here, took the chimney down to the floor, because this chimney is not operative anywhere, and there's no chimney above the roof. You could start here, and by the time you get to here, you'd be, the eaves come down, but you'd be low enough to be able to make the turn and come back and have a normal code-compliant stairway. And according to the fire marshal, if this is encased in, if there's a door here and a door here, and it's encased in 1.25 or whatever the dimension is of the sheetrock,
Inch
It would-
and 5/8.
it would have a 1-hour rating, and you end up right by
the
it next-
door.
Right by
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't have to have this whole thing, which. So he's working on that. He thinks it would be workable.
Because these stairs obviously are useless anyway.
Yeah,
We can't,
I mean, they're treacherous. Same, yeah, exactly.
So why not use that space, and because it is right by the back door?
Mhm. There are 6 exits on the ground floor of this building. And to have to build another whole wing of the building for another exit from the 2nd floor
Mhm.
that's gonna look terrible and be expensive didn't make any sense to me. So, anyway, that's one of the proposed changes. So, what do we think about recommending getting this operative?
As a kitchen.
Do you want to look at the other space, just so we will have eyeballed it? No?
That one?
So the kitchenette is currently here. Their original plan has it here.
They have a whole
And we're
kitchen.
considering this.
Yeah,
I think this is a waste of space to have a kitchen in there, personally.
I do too,
I
and
think
it's
this-
as far away as you can get from anywhere where you would serve food or drink. You'd be running back and forth. This has always been non-functional and not attractive, and only one person can get in there at a time. I was proposing there isn't any place anywhere for chair storage. You could get 3 stacks of stacking chairs here, 18 inches wide. And even if some of this headroom is taken out by the stairway modification, there's enough room here to have clothing racks.
And that does make sense, because we're gonna be losing the coat rack over there if
Yeah.
that gets turned into the handicap.
Well, that was
bathroom.
another thing I just noticed before I came here, which is that where the ADA bathroom is here, there's just this vacant space here, and they've taken down everything. I mean, it ends like It ends with the fireplace. Where are we? Here. It ends, the fireplace, the wall stops here.
What they've drawn,
What they've drawn. I don't know why we can't, you know, I mean, this obviously has to be opened up, but it would seem to me that they could still get a closet in here. So there'd be a small coat closet there, and then there'd be coat storage here for larger groups. Anyway, that's a question to ask them. I don't know if, for ADA doors, I don't know if they have to outswing or in-swing or if it matters. But you could still get into something here. And then this wall would look more like it is now, and it wouldn't just end at the end of the mantelpiece, which is so strange to me. You know, it's so offset on one side of the wall.
I'm still on the kitchenette.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got.
yeah.
Tim, did you mention to Tim about this space
Yeah,
with him?
I went up, yeah.
And he said that he could.
he said we don't need a door here. We can open up this space more. There's room, he said, you know, I had my scale ruler and, you know, that's why I asked for these drawings, because the little drawings are so small that you can't scale anything and see what the options are. So
He said that's doable.
And he
that's
said
workable.
it's doable.
And the ADA has to go around.
The ADA goes around here,
It can't go directly in.
because look at it.
Yeah, you can
It's
run
only
the
charm.
whole chimney, everything.
Yeah,
We can widen this.
we can widen that.
That's not a post,
I don't know what his idea is about that, but,
because if that's a post, you're not gonna widen that door without a header across.
yeah. I don't know what this is here. The plumbing comes out of there, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, it comes down
I
from
mean,
here.
he's taking photographs and measurements and everything else. So I think his thought is bring it over here. But this is hollow. This isn't, I don't think this is a post. I don't know. There's no indication on this side, although.
What
That
what
has
is
to
this
rest on something.
cantilever, or whatever that, what does that box suggest to you?
I don't know.
I have no idea what that box is, I've been looking at that.
Is it more pipes coming down? I bet that's.
Probably could be
I bet that's.
cold and hot water.
Yeah, I
coming
think
up.
that's what that is, that's probably the
It's
hot.
probably gotta go out because
Right.
of this carrying
Yeah.
beam here.
It
Yeah.
goes all the way across, it's going out rather than go up and drill through it.
Yeah, like the other pipe,
Mhm.
the waistline.
Because that's the tub in CM's bathroom,
Right.
or the toilet, whatever.
But Tim said to you, we can make this work, going
Yes.
around.
Yes, he did.
Okay, that's all we need.
Yeah. So,
So we can suggest this, and the plans won't change of what the Board of Selectmen said we're going to, that we accepted upon. It's
so
just,
what my thought is, I mean, having had a chance to study this with a larger scale and go over some things with Tim, is to go over this with the Board of Selectmen and say, these are the modifications
okay,
that we're recommending. If you agree, I'll
Okay.
send this to Tim and he can,
So we would be
adjust it.
adding the kitchenette on top of the two things that Lynn wanted to be ADA, right?
Well, this would be our budget item,
we need a ramp,
yeah.
we need the bathroom, and we need
Well-
ADA kitchenette.
Right, so what were weren't there just two things that Lynn wanted to do?
All she wanted was an ADA entrance and an ADA
Bath.
restroom.
So now we're saying three things.
Well, no,
ADA.
this can come out of the repairs and maintenance budget that we have for this year, I think.
And these two things were not gonna be added? I'm
No,
just
those
confused.
two things,
budget-wise.
I don't
So
know how
I-
they're gonna be paid for.
So what Lynn is saying is what I've said from the start. How do we open up this building
Mhm.
by getting it ADA approved.
Mhm.
Boom. And yes, it needs this, it needs that, it needs
Right.
furniture, it needs all kinds of things. But at the bare minimum,
Right,
what will it take?
So it'd be the bathroom
so I'm
and-
assuming that's what she said.
so it'd be these two things.
What she meant, the
Yeah.
porch and the,
Right.
and the bathroom.
And we don't have any idea how much of the budget that's gonna eat up?
How much of
Well,
the
there's
budget? There's none of
it
none of
isn't
it for the
it-
budget.
You have to
No.
go to the town.
No.
You have to go to the town for the ADA modifications. We could do this,
Oh, I
Within
see
the
what you're
budget.
saying. Okay, okay.
yeah.
We can do that within the
And
budget. We can move the kitchenette with $14,000.
I mean, we can't, I mean,
$14,000.
we may not be able to buy the
I don't-
appliances.
I don't think we could do it for that, but
We
We
can't.
may
it
not
would
be
eat
able
it
to
up.
buy the appliances, but we could level the floor, insulate it, fix the doorway, put on the, put ductwork underneath for, heating the backspace, just while it's all open.
I don't know if we should put in any money over there if we're going to make a kitchenette. Who knows what's in there, right? Isn't that that's a
Where?
big cat there? I mean, we're going to use the money that's in repairs and maintenance
To fix the floor.
to fix the floor, but then we're going,
And insulate.
but then we're going to go and ask to see if we can get the funding to make it ADA approved and what.
Oh, you don't have to, oh, you mean the
We need to, all
entrance?
kinds of walls are coming. I mean,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of changes going to go on here, and plus piping, right? There's some pipes under here, so that's going to be all ripped up. I'm not an engineer. I'm not, but it just seems like if that's going to be a kitchenette where none exists currently, that's a big job.
Yep.
A big job.
Yeah.
Well,
So I don't
you know,
know if we should put any money to
We
that.
wouldn't have to buy the appliances or, do the finished work.
But even doing a
We
rat
just have
slab,
to
I mean,
do
I don't
the
know.
prep
We
work.
got to get a plumber in here to actually move all the piping, right? I mean, I could be wrong. I've never put in a rat slab. I don't really know, but to get water over there and to get all that, I don't know what they have to do with that.
It would go through the basement and up. Well, yeah.
So I don't know.
What would happen if we asked permission to the selectmen if they'd let us do the bathroom with last year's budget and whatever next year's budget is?
This bathroom.
See if they give us the approval to go ahead and do it. Get
Well,
it done, price it out, and do it.
I can tell you.
And then the building can at least sort of open up, because they said you were allowed to sort of hold functions up to 50 people, I believe, without going 100%, with the ramp and all that other stuff to get the building
I
up.
think that the capacity doesn't really have anything to do with the ramps or the whatever. And
No, it doesn't, but he said
No.
you could still have up to 50 people or less.
You could have up to 50 people with one bathroom on the
Correct.
floor.
And I say, we should do the bathroom before anything else, so you can at least get the building open up and then start with your
Yeah.
fundraising
I
and whatever
kind of-
else.
I kind of share Joyce's concern that it's a lot less expensive depending upon, we're talking about this kitchenette, for example. While you're doing the floor and the insulation, you bring the pipes through the chase there and the ductwork for heat, and that's done. You don't have to finish it. You just have to prep it. But if you try to open the building and all you've done is do a ramp and a bathroom, then you look at this place and it isn't any better to use than it ever was, and it's still got stained walls and floors that are, need refinishing. And I mean, I don't know. I think maybe the first phase needs to include a few more things, and it's a question of, if you go to the town to ask for that, what are you asking them for? Are you just asking them for a ramp and a bathroom? Are you asking them for a ramp, a bathroom, and a nice new kitchenette and painted walls?
How about if we asked for a ramp and a bathroom and painted walls and I don't know about the windows or not, and say that Plan B is going to be a kitchenette? but we can't do
I
it
think,
now.
I think for a functioning building, for people that are having meetings and gonna work here all day or whatever, they need to have a,
Well, but I
Yeah.
think just, I really see what Glenn, and I think, I don't know, I just think that with that refrigerator out of there, with a little bit of rearranging, that could be a barely but functional kitchenette for now. I mean, it's there, it exists, there is a sink, there's room for a small refrigerator. You could get a little stovetop thing if you need it. This will function for a while. It'd be nice to have a bigger one, but I think in order to make this building look good on the inside, we've got to put some work into that. And I think
I mean,
if the-
once you do.
can I
the-
just finish for a
Sure,
minute?
sorry.
If the townspeople know that a better kitchen is in our longer range plan, we can tell them that. So they know that we're thinking about it. But I kind of am backing off saying, let's not do the kitchen right now. I think just get the rest of this place looking good, because I think that's one of the things that people are worried about.
Yeah.
Inside and outside, it looks shabby.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the kitchen. I think that's the perfect place to put it, but I just don't think right now is the time to do it.
So would you then propose that we spend some of the money on cleaning out?
Yeah.
You know, get rid of the stovepipe thing, replaster, whatever we need to do, that maybe open that up, or not, I don't know.
I think, again, that could be phase two. But I think there's enough work between the windowsills, the windows themselves. Obviously, this place needs to be painted. I think
Yeah.
it's more cosmetic in a sense, but if that's what it's gonna take to get people to be comfortable with what we're doing. Glenn, what do you think?
Once you do the ADA bathroom, you're not gonna have a coat closet. So
Right.
that's why I thought if we moved this stuff, we'd have coat
We can
and chair
temporarily make
storage.
that a coat closet very
Yeah.
easily. The
You
chairs
could
are already
put a
stored
temporary
there.
one on wheels if you had to.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think a coat closet is a deal breaker at this
Okay.
point. Yes, they're portable.
Yep.
In fact, the one in there is just on wheels anyway.
Yep.
So we've got plenty of place on this floor to put
Okay,
coats
so,
and chairs.
so then the priorities would be to do some interior painting and cleanup, and to see if the windows upstairs are, if the, you know, from the outside, they look terrible. But I don't know, because I haven't really inspected them carefully, gotten on a ladder or anything, if they're rotten and leaking, the way the ones were in the ground floor. Would those be the priorities?
What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, so we're talking then interior paint and cleanup.
Yes. So here's what I said when I first saw the report. Everything that they had in the report was $1.2 million.
Yeah.
Everything. And the first thing we as selectmen and me did was to look at all of the priorities. And some of them, the priorities weren't even ADA. That was like number 2 and number 3.
Yeah.
I counted up all of the ADA things that we wanted, and I got somewhere between 100,000 and 120.
That's what I got,
The ADA,
120.
roughly, you know,
Yes.
and we asked for them to rearrange those priorities, and we had that meeting. So for me, it's $120,000, and I don't know if that includes the kitchenette. You including kitchenette, that could be, I don't know, 50, 100, I don't know, I'm just making up stuff, but that's even more. What is the number we want to go to the town with to get it passed?
Right.
What is palatable for the voters of this town? That's what we need to be asking ourselves.
And it's the voters that are going to
Yes.
be doing the ADA. No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I just need to make clear, when you say the town is doing the ADA, the repair budget doesn't do the ADA. So the voters are going to have to approve the money to do the ADA. Okay.
Anything above, what, 20,000 in this? Yeah, anything above 20,000.
Okay. I just need to get that clear in my
Oh yeah, no, this is a huge expenditure
Oh,
that
yeah,
the
yeah.
Board of Selectmen aren't going to decide this. So So I'm thinking. So right now, I'm thinking $120,000 just to open this place without ripping out walls and moving kitchenettes.
Well, it
120,000.
depends entirely
Can-
on where
can-
the ramp
Can I
is.
just do it?
So, and I have said, it's one of the reasons why we had Morena and Todd here, is that once this house gets on the state registry, we can apply for funds. Once if this house gets on the national registry, it's a little bit harder, it takes a little bit longer time, we can apply to even more funding. So I think we as a group are doing exactly what we need to be doing. We need to present all these options to the town, but we also need to make sure we have an opportunity to get funding
Right.
that's just not all the voters of the town.
Absolutely.
That is very, very critical. So having said that, I have, after Morena was here and Todd, she asked for everyone's emails, which I gave to her. I've emailed her twice. Where's the status? Where are we? I haven't heard anything. I looked at my emails right before this meeting. So I think we as a group need to put pressure on SHPO to get on the state registry
Yeah.
because that funding process, that starts in January. So that's not starting now.
Right.
So that's going to take an entire year. So this process is going to be long, and what we're talking about is some serious funding, and I think we have to do our best to try to find grants.
I took a
So-
couple notes at the SHPO meeting, and I found them when I was preparing for this meeting. That they may have a commentary on the exterior accessibility issue and where that should be. Marina will prepare a report, exterior and some insight on the interior. The timeline for the report, she said, would be 2.5 to 3 weeks. I think that's already gone by, hasn't it? Or has it?
Oh, so she said all this at the meeting?
Yeah.
At the meeting,
I
okay.
wrote down timeline,
Okay.
2.5, 3 weeks,
Okay,
for ADA refocus, accessibility, to give us some direction.
okay.
Direction for why to choose ADA entrance. So they're gonna have an opinion on that. Repairs and maintenance recommendation, that was a separate conversation. But that's what I took down from that meeting.
So we haven't heard from her since that
No.
meeting. I, at a Board of Select meetings, threw out the idea, does SHPO and Marina and Todd, do they work with, do they look at plans with Silver and Petrocelli? And there was some discussion about that, if I recall.
And when they came, they were disappointed that they weren't here.
And it seems that they do. When I asked Tim Tack, right? Remember that?
Yep.
So I don't know where we stand on that as a Board of Selectmen. I don't know, and we haven't heard from Moran and Todd, so they know we have this, and
I
they.
have a little bit of leverage that I might be able to use. Their boss, I believe, is Liz Shapiro. She's the head of SHPO.
Okay.
She's a good friend of mine. She knows the Swift House. She loves it. I
They
could
love it too.
talk to her. Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
this is somebody way up in
Yeah.
SHPO, and if I can get Liz, we can have an off the record conversation. How can we get Marina and Todd to respond to us?
Yeah.
And just see if we can push this, because the timing is becoming critical. We know that.
'Cause I don't know if we need to ask Marina and Todd about the kitchenette.
No.
We don't.
No, but
We
getting
don't.
it on the register
But
is
we
what I'm
got
talking
to
about.
get this thing on the
Right,
register.
Well,
and
they-
Liz has been wanting to get this house on the register for a long time.
Yeah.
And
She's
Marina and Todd said from my notes, when they were here, that they're much more concerned about the exterior than the interior.
Mhm.
They don't want us to wreck it, they want to have some of the old features of the millwork and things that give it the atmosphere that it's always had. But how we want to rearrange things is not their main concern. I think they're much more concerned about what it looks like from the outside.
And that's the register's focus anyway.
Yeah, and at the last joint meeting that we had when Marge and I were there, and when you couldn't make it to that meeting, there was this sort of hurried aside decision between Marty and Lynn, both of whom have handicapped family members in wheelchairs, that it would be nicer to have the access in the front. But that's gonna raise the price, according to Tim. It'll be like 2.25 times the cost of doing it in the back, because he said the ramp would have to make up 42 inches as opposed to 18 inches in the back. The porch deck would need to be elevated 9 inches. The porch railings would need to be reset, assuming they can be saved. The ramp would not only need to double in size, there needs to be a switchback landing. And because the height of the ramp is greater than 30 inches, it would need to have guardrails all around it, probably metal guardrails.
Did Tim give you 2 figures for each?
He said, with that said, I would estimate the ramp along the side porch costing 2.25 times more than the back porch, approximately $63,000 to $90,000, depending on materials and finishes used. I don't know if the $63,000 to $90,000 is the total price or the price difference. I need to get clarification.
Yeah, I
on
think
that
we need to know
sentence.
exactly
Yeah.
what he thinks those 2 numbers would be, because there's some
Yeah.
confusion
Yeah,
about that.
because he said, I had a more in-depth analysis putting the ramp in front than back here, but this is just like, you don't need guardrails. It's a gentler pitch. This, I don't have the prior drawing, but this has switchbacks. And it's totally gonna change this entire facade. So,
Well, here's what I think, because it is just looking at the time real fast. Ramp, ADA bathroom, and
they're saying ramp, or is it ramp or ramp?
I don't think we're deciding that right now.
No.
I think
We
that
need
was
a ramp,
the
we need
a
bathroom.
ramp, a ramp. Board of Selectmen decided there it goes there. After this, at this point, that's why I'm pointing right here. Ramp, bathroom, kitchenette. That's capital. We need grants. I don't think what we have currently in this budget, or even next year, should go much to any of those things at this point.
Okay.
But I think we should use this money.
Yes.
Absolutely,
So
we
that
should
could
use
go for
it
this other stuff.
for the other things that we've been talking about.
Okay.
So our previous motion earlier in this meeting was to check the when the paint. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
that'll
checking the
be
lead paint.
probably
That's big because we've talked about painting.
Yeah.
We need to know where that stuff is and
So
what we
that'll
can
be
do.
like $700 or
So that's a good
$800.
thing. I think what we decided there is great.
Okay.
And we should do that immediately. After that, we've talked about
Oh, there's
windowsills.
plenty.
We've talked
Yeah.
about some of the outside, siding that's rotted a little bit. I think we should do that stuff because it just that we can do. That's maintenance and repairs, and that would make it would help preserve the building in the short term, and it would make it look a little bit nicer outside. So,
That makes
but
sense.
but all of these big items, and this building, like moving the kitchenette, I wouldn't touch it. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I don't know if that makes
So we
sense.
need to get,
Okay, you do know that whatever grants we get, we have to match? Either-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
either in
Yes. So
town funds or contributed funds
Oh,
or
yeah.
federal funds or any other source.
So-
Any other source that isn't
Oh, yeah.
state
and,
funds.
right, and if, you're right.
so
And we have to pay up front
Oh, yeah.
and then they
If it's a state
reimburse.
grant, we
So-
have to do, yeah.
so if it's a state grant, so it's 1-to-1 match. So if we don't get it, it's 120,000. If we do get it, we put up 60.
But we have to pay for the whole thing up front and then get reimbursed.
Yes.
So
That's
that-
the job.
Yes.
You could
Yeah.
do- You
Oh,
could
yeah.
do that with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
short-term bond or something.
Yes. Yeah. But
Okay.
Yeah.
we got to go for that,
Yeah.
and it's just not on the state registry. I think that's priority
It's
number
key,
one.
and that's why
It's
I
key.
wanted to get this on the state
It's
registry
key.
for a long time, and I'm glad that the focus has gotten, I
And they were-
really appreciate you getting Marina and Todd out here.
Yeah.
I think they obviously liked what they saw. I think they got
They did.
excited enough if they think that maybe it can get on national, so we just gotta push them to, I'll see what I can do with Liz.
And
Okay.
and again, I thought they were great. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
one of
they
the,
loved it.
my best meetings as
Yeah.
a selectman. I really enjoyed that. I was like, wow, I learned so much about old basements and timber and how to construct buildings.
Their excitement was heartening after all that we've been slogging through.
Yeah, it was infectious actually.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
absolutely appreciate both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And anything they can do for us now would be great.
Crawl around a building and write a report.
Well, and I love it that one of them loves attics and the other one loves the basements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the writing the reports that's
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do that either, but I think we can.
So they're probably still working on it. Let's just keep talking to them and
Yeah.
and see where we're at. And I would say we need to still meet, right? We talked about another one. I don't know if we're there yet. There's other
Okay,
meeting
so we
schedules.
talked about the status. Okay,
think that's-
let's just go
That's-
over, I'd like to go over this carefully with you because I want your agreement and anything else that you see that I might have overlooked. And then when is the next selectmen's meeting? Do we bring this to the selectmen?
Sure. Yeah, it's later this month, the fourth Wednesday, whatever that is,
Okay,
at 6:30.
okay, so this has to be on. If there's a special meeting before that, I'd love to get this back to Silvercrest Shelley.
There is, but I think it's coming up really quickly.
Okay.
I forget when it is, but
Okay, so
Yeah, we'll
you,
vote in.
you want to come around this side so we can see what's going on? Okay, starting here. Nothing here. I mean, I did want to know if we can keep a door there because, and this, he said he has changed the stairs so they're to code. I noticed that there are no doors here. I don't know if that matters.
Why
We're
would you
gonna
want to have a door?
Fire
Well,
code,
there
fire
are
doors.
doors.
Oh, you have
probably.
to, okay.
I would think so.
Well, if you have a door here,
Mhm.
maybe you don't have to have doors there.
Oh, right here and here.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha, okay.
If the second floor is a different
Mhm.
use,
Mhm.
okay? So that's just a question. We're gonna have to deal with this. We've all agreed that that's a better place for a kitchen than here. So this would be storage. I think it would be better if it has bifold doors instead of fins. We're changing some of the nomenclature. This will say meeting space. He kept a lot of office space because he doesn't want the building to have a change of use code-wise, because that gets more complicated. This, I see no problem with that. This becomes a mop sink. That's okay. This bothers me. I'd like to see this wall continue here. And then maybe this is just open and that's coat storage. But I think it's very weird not for this fireplace no longer to be centered. We talked about this. Keeping the door here, just because it's so funky and fun. This would eventually become the kitchenette. This would be storage for stacking chairs and coats. This would be reworked, hopefully, so that we can get rid of this. Take out the petitions here to just keep this as one larger space. Need to have storage here. I mean, I'm assuming that the garden club will continue to use the back space and they need some storage, and whoever else might use this space might too. But do you think this should be two places or just one?
Because this is a wall that they're putting in.
This is the wall they're putting in
Right,
that doesn't
exist
exist.
now. I don't see why we'd need
I
that.
don't either. They're taking out this wall here. So they take that out all the way
Mhm.
to the
Yeah,
chimney.
I don't like the idea of that wall at all, because it
I don't
really,
either.
it breaks up the potential uses of that space.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the garden club, they have projects and they have a big long table and they can
Mhm.
make wreaths or
Mhm.
whatever they
Yeah,
want to
we've
do.
used it that same way. We've
Yeah.
done stuff in there. It's not as big as it looks really when
Yeah.
you're in there
I
working.
know. I mean, I
No,
looked at it and I
do not
thought,
want that wall
yeah.
there, just personally.
Okay.
It's-
So those are the changes that I could see. The second floor is, I haven't had an opinion on the second floor from anybody, including the selectmen. I have had conversations with Justin Potter about, and I think I told you that he said that the Kent Affordable Housing would be very willing to enter into a long-term rental agreement with lease with the town and manage an apartment. He would like to meet and he'd like to see the space. So I'll bring him here at some point and he can walk through.
So he has not asked the selectmen this yet.
What?
He has not asked the selectmen
Ask
yet,
the selectmen what?
this idea.
Well, I've bounced this, I mean, I have
Okay. So
conveyed that.
the selectmen haven't heard yet.
I have conveyed this idea to the selectmen, I think at the
Oh, you
meeting
did? Oh,
we
you did?
weren't
Okay,
there.
you did.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have
you did.
mentioned it to
Okay.
him, yeah. So he'd like to meet
He'd
with the
like to meet,
selectmen.
okay.
Yeah, he would, but I think he'd like to see the place first. And I'd also like, just so that along the way we can gather enough public support to do any of this, I'd like to invite groups that have used it, people that are interested, to come, you know, maybe see the plans, think about their use, have the head of the garden club come and say, yes, it'd be great to have storage or whatever. And, you know, I don't think those have to take everybody's time or be on the record meetings. They're just, you know, inviting people
Mhm.
who want to be supportive to come and feel a sense of commitment to the ideas.
Yeah.
I've heard through the grapevine, there are a couple of people that have talked about it would be nice to have like a WeWork space here where people who don't have broadband in the hills could come and work in town, or people with small children that don't have any peace and quiet at home, they could have a place to work. I mean, we could do that upstairs, or we could do that in the space that the chamber is using for storage. Do you know anything about the ambulance barn?
No.
What is the status of that?
There's all kinds of great ideas floating around. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, I had heard that the fire department's gonna put housing in the the firehouse.
That's what's been proposed.
So
But with no money
yeah,
and 2 years out
yeah,
at $1 million price tag
$1 million.
for 4 units, to me, and as I said at the meeting the other night, it doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather see a freestanding building somewhere with 4 units in for $1 million than try to put something in a warehouse space, but that's not this meeting.
Okay, all right. So that hasn't been decided yet, and you know.
Well,
even-
they've applied for the money,
Mhm.
but it's gonna take 1 to 2 years to get it.
This is from the state.
Can we get back to this?
Yeah, can we
Okay.
talk about
All right.
Swift and
All right,
then-
but I'm just talking about the use of this space. Lynn apparently had a meeting with the head of the chamber, which I was very unhappy not to be included in that meeting because I really have wanted to talk to this guy for a long time. Well, I met with the old outgoing person who was very enthusiastic about a bunch of things, but every time there's a change in administration, you know, it's a new day. So we need to deal with that issue and how that's going to be used. But this could be a WeWork space, or you could put something upstairs. We're not going to, this is probably phase 3, aside from the stair, which is going to have to be done when phase 2 is done, because you can't tear it apart and put it back together again. Do you have any other ideas about the second floor? That just, because I think, you know, we have to have a sense of what's going to happen in order to present it to the town. It's like, oh, well, we haven't thought about the second floor. That's not a good answer.
Well, I think we have been thinking about
Oh, I
it,
know
but I
we
don't
have.
think we can come up with an idea tonight, but I think we've got some options
Mm-hmm.
of different ways that it could be used.
office space, storage, or
exactly.
people who live there.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we present it to the town, I think we should all be on one page
Right.
about what's gonna happen. I mean, how do you feel about a workforce apartment up there?
It's money.
What?
It's money. That's a lot of it.
Well,
It's the second floor.
the bones are there, yeah,
The bones are there.
yeah. And there's state money for workforce affordable housing, apparently.
So if we
that
could get
might
some
help
income
us.
off that area, that would help.
Get some income and also have the security of somebody being in the building. I mean, you know, if you had a teacher there, that would be wonderful. They could walk to school.
Okay, so what else do we need to get done
I think that's
tonight?
it. So I'll keep talking to people, and if you have any feedback or ideas,
I'll work on Liz.
yeah, you work on Liz, that would be great. Okay, so, shall
Okay.
we adjourn the meeting? and-
So before we adjourn, so the next regular Board of Selectmen meeting, we'll just recommend to the Board of Selectmen what we think we could do with the existing budget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
about doing the
Yeah, well-
existing woodwork and stuff.
we have to, you know, see if we can find contractors.
Okay, so that's that, and then we're also going to ask the Board of Selectmen ask or tell, or that we'd like to move the kitchenette to here.
Yeah, because they asked us to make a decision.
To make that decision,
We haven't
okay.
made that.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
did we have a motion?
And we didn't have did we move for that?
No, let's
No.
move
Let's do that then.
before
So,
we adjourn.
I will make a motion to move the kitchenette over into the storage area that now has the chairs right off the main room. I don't know what they call this, the kitchenette.
Move the kitchenette there.
Yeah,
Okay,
move the kitchenette into the storage area off the main room.
okay.
second.
Aye,
Aye.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
yeah. Okay, and then the rest of these modifications that we have gone over and discussed, can I have a motion that we present them to the Board of Selectmen as discussed and reviewed? And with the idea that we would return this to Sylvia Petrocelli for the few modifications that
Okay.
we had talked about making.
Okay, that's a motion.
Mhm.
Okay?
Second.
Oh,
Aye.
in favor?
Okay. All right, so we have a plan.
Okay.
We just don't know who the contractors are that we can get to do the work.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought I had a contractor who was great, but it's not.
So it is
6:24.
6:24.
Okay,
Meeting is
meeting is adjourned.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.